Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today, we're coming to you at a special time because we are doing extreme time zones this morning. Let's see, this morning for our guest, this afternoon for me, and I don't know what time it is for you. But today, we're going to learn about a new React framework. I'm really excited about it. It has the ability to do a lot of things that I think have been considered very, very advanced, but is making it hopefully approachable for lots of people. The official slogan of the framework is "Let's make React fun again," which is very in line with my values. And here to teach us is the framework's creator, Daishi Kato. Daishi, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hi, good morning, everyone.
It
I'm
is
fine.
it is great to have you here. Thank you so much for taking some time. I know you had to wake up early, and I really do appreciate that. Um, for folks who maybe aren't familiar with you and don't know your work, could you give us a bit of a background on yourself?
Yeah, my name is Daishi Kato. I'm an open source developer. My, open source is currently my primary work, and my main projects include three state management libraries for React and Waku, the minimal React framework. A couple of days ago, I wrote a short blog post about my journey with open source. And my very first open source contribution was like more than 20 years ago. So
Wow.
yeah, if you are interested, you can check it out.
Yeah, you'll have to send a link through to that, and we'll make sure it goes into the show notes. Um, and so you contribute to three state management framework. One of them I know is Justand, right?
Hmm.
What are the others?
The other two are Jotai and Varshio,
Got it.
all
Okay.
all from the same GitHub organization.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, and I've heard a lot of really good things about those. And I've heard my friend Jack Harrington has talked about Waku and really likes it. I've seen some chatter generally about Waku itself. So, at a high level, I said already that on the homepage, Waku says, "Let's make writing React fun again," which I love. Um, what is Waku? Like, why did you create it?
Yeah, so there are a bit of history. Actually, there are two aspects, so I'll explain one by one. The first one is this is my research project. So it's an experimental project because we cannot use React Server components without any frameworks. We need something. So my research question was what does it look like if we were to create something very minimal that only allows us to run server components.
Mm.
So the other aspect is as this gets some traction, we have some requests that can we use this? Can we use this for production? So we started to add more features. It's still minimal, but now it's more like a real framework.
Hmm.
So two aspects are one research experimental project to explore RSC capabilities. The other is to provide a minimalistic framework that people can actually use.
Excellent. Yeah, and I know that you wanted to spend most of the time coding. I'm also really excited to get into the coding on this. So I'm actually going to just go right into it because I want to keep us moving here. So let's dive over into our pair programming mode. And I'm going to turn on this banner. And I'm also going to turn on this one for a second because this episode is being made possible through the support of our sponsors. We've got live captioning being done by Rachel. Rachel's with White Coat Captioning, and that is made possible through the support of Netlify. Thank you, Netlify, for covering that. And Daishi and I are using Tuple today for pair programming. That's why you can see two mouse cursors flying around here. And that is through the support of Tuple. Thank you very thank you very much, Tuple, for making this possible. It helps me make more of this show, and I appreciate it a whole lot. So we are talking to Daishi today. Here is a link to your homepage here, so you can go follow Daishi on Twitter. And we are talking today about Waku. So this is the homepage for Waku. And I just want to call out, first and foremost, this is a beautiful homepage, and it's such an interesting departure from most framework homepages. And I just like it so much. It has it's got a feel.
Somebody said this is like a game. This
Oh
looks
yeah,
like a game. the very first page.
yeah. This is really fun. So, for somebody who wants to get started, what should my first step be?
Yeah, as I said, we have plenty of time today. Let's start with the one aspect, which is the research aspect. So it's not like something some app developers do, but we learn how work works and how React Server components works. So there is no docs in this web page, but I can tell you. So yeah, maybe we open up a terminal.
Okay. Let me just open up a VS Code window. Okay, I'm ready.
So empty, right? It is empty. So npm create Waku at latest minus and again minus choose.
Okay.
Yep. Enter.
All right, and we'll call this Let's Learn Waku.
And choose 20 minimal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of the research mode. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so let me move into this project, and we'll close up this one. And I'm going to maximize this to start so that we have, actually.
I called it research mode, but this is actually for folks who develop library. So this is for library authors.
Got it.
Okay, I can explain a little bit. So there are two entry points. There are main TSX and entries TSX. Because a React framework requires server, or something like server, there are two entry points. Main.tsx, if you open up at main.tsx, this is the same file as Vite. So this is a client entry point.
Okay. I just realized I forgot to install dependencies, so I'm getting that done right now.
So main.tsx is a client entry point. So the browser first loads this file. On the other hand, entries.tsx is the entry file for the server end.
Okay.
And
sorry, it's I'm wondering why it's not seeing my.
I don't know.
Let me just try reloading this one more time and see if my VS Code server is a little wacky because I change stuff on it all the time, and so it can be a little slow. And it's fine now. Okay, we're in entries.tsx, and I don't have any more red squigglies. Okay, so main.tsx is the client entry, and then entries.tsx is
server entry.
Got it.
Yes. To make it simple, let's comment out from line 13 to 26.
Okay.
So if you ignore it, there is just one simple function left. So this is what I call render entries. So it takes an input and it returns an object that includes JSX.
Okay.
So the goal here is that RSC is a way to serialize components, React components. So the server's job is to receive requests and return the response.
Right.
So this is and this is the minimal API I came up with which takes an input is actually a string. So it takes on a string. It's like a path, and it returns components. The reason we have an wrapping object is that we may return multiple components in one response. So
Got it.
Okay, so yeah, this is really everything. So
Okay.
so this minimal mode only allows this usage. It gets input, it returns output. And if you open up again the main TSX file, it has there are two special components from Waku /client, root and slot. Root is something that you put in the root. And slot is you can place anywhere, and the ID specifies the key of the object that we specify in entries.tsx. It's confusing because we all key up everywhere.
And so,
Yeah,
so this one here, this ID of app, is going to use this key here. Is that correct? Okay, I got
exactly.
you. Okay.
So we can put many slots if you want, but this is the simplest way.
And so when you say that we could return multiple elements in this object, what that practically means is that I could have, if I had a bunch of markup here, like a header and a sidebar and a user section, I could just put in slots for like my user section, for my main app, for my sidebar, and then each one of those would be pulled out of the entries.
That is correct.
Got it. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
So let's see how up.tsx is implemented in component. That which is in. So this is confusing. We have this file. If you look at this file, it doesn't say anything about this is a server component or a client component, but the framework knows because the framework knows it's a server component because it's from entries.tsx. We import this file from entries.tsx.
Got it. That makes sense.
And this one is a pretty simple, except that we have some suspense thing. But let's forget about it for now. So we have headers and counter. A counter is imported in line 3, which, let's open up a counter.
Okay.
It has at line 1, you use client directive. So it says this runs on client, not on the server. So we can use state and other hooks.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it's time to run this up.
Yeah, let's do it. So I have it running at localhost 3000, and here is our running app.
Exactly. And can you open up the network tab?
You can. Let me make this full size here. Okay. And reloading.
Yes. At first, you see, localhost is the first request, which returns an empty HTML body. It has many scripts, but it's empty. It's like it's a SPA. We don't enable server SSR yet.
Okay.
So it's empty, and we load the client entry point, which is main.tsx at line 52.
Got it.
That one is v1, so it's not the one we are doing.
Sorry, which
one? I think the second one.
This
one? The third one. No, this is not. Can you go down a little bit?
See, this one's from Waku. This is client.
Yeah, this is the library. Maybe down there.
We've got some Waku WebSockets.
I didn't see it. Maybe I was wrong. It was the first one. The main.
The main.
Yeah, this is the one we have. Yes,
Okay.
it's compiled with debug mode, but
Oh, I got it.
this is
Yeah.
the main file. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So then
And
we get.
what I like to see is the index.txt down below at the I mean in the network. So if you so this is the response from entries.tsx. So remember
Okay.
we have it's a function that takes an input string and returns an object with JSX elements. So if we interpret it, it's a bit hard, but it has, let's see. Yeah, at line number 3, it's an object.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can see
Yeah.
the name of app.
Oh,
It
no,
runs in.
it's a debug. It's a debug information. Line number. Which one? 8.
8.
The tagged with 0.
Ah, I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
it's the
Okay.
first one, and up is the ID for the slot, and $1 is pointing to line number 4, which points to no. Wait. Line number 7.
7. Oh, here.
Yeah, that's the $1, and it has JSX serialized.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So we've got our HTML and all the pieces that are inside of that app component.
Exactly. And as we have a client component, which is counter, which is linked from line number 2. So it later in the network tab it loads counter.tsx.
Yeah, we can see counter.tsx right here, and this is the it's processed by Vite, but otherwise just kind of loading in.
Exactly.
Great. Okay, so this is the spec for React Server components, right? Like the serialization that's happening here this is what the RSC spec says to do.
Yes, RSC spec says to allows us to serialize, but they don't specify any how we put it on wire. So
Okay.
so the way we do it is Waku spec.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. And so then, this being our minimal setup here, we have the server component then brings in a client component. And so if I do something like this part, we have access to client interactivity. But if we were to bring in a counter and mark it as server, it would render a button, but the button wouldn't do anything. Like the use state wouldn't work, right?
Right.
Got it. Okay. So I think in the abstract, this makes sense. I feel like the core building blocks are there. What do you want to look at next?
Okay, let's look at something we ignored before. It's still the basic behavior. In up.tsx, we have a suspense boundary, and in server message is down below, which is simply wait 2 seconds and return hello.
Oh, I didn't look at that.
So if we load it, it waits for 2 seconds, and between these 2 seconds, it shows the fallback. If you say if you remove suspense boundary, just leave server message and remove suspense boundary. It will wait 2 seconds for the entire page.
Got it. Okay, so this gives us a lot of control then when we're working here on like, I don't want to show my page until this data is loaded, so just wait, or we can show a loading indicator, and the page can load without it.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense. Let me undo that change so we get our suspense back. Great. Okay. So this is, I mean, it's all making sense so far.
Okay. One other thing we want to try is to see how, like we saw in the network tab how RSC is returned, but we can actually try that on terminal. So can you go back to the network tab again?
Okay.
And
Let me actually get this open. Okay. And this one?
and for this index.txt, I think you can copy the URL from the left tab.
URL.
And you go to terminal and you type call this URL.
Okay, so curl.
Yeah, it's waiting 2 seconds, you see?
Oh, interesting. Okay, and so this bit came back later. So let's do that one more time. All right, did everybody see that? How it gets to here and then hangs that 2 seconds? Do it one more time. Got it. Okay, so it's actually the text file is implementing this. So is this text file being sent over a stream?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, it's a HTTP stream.
Very cool. Okay. All right, that makes sense.
All right. What do we do now? Let's play a little bit for, let's see. Just to make sure that we can receive the input. Let me see. Yeah, you open main.tsx, and root component actually receives a prop called initial input.
Okay.
Let's say JSON. I'm not sure if we need to restart the server, but just can you go back to the browser? Maybe.
Okay. And then would this show up in the? Oh, here it is.
Yeah, actually the input is kind of URL. So yeah, what you typed for the input becomes URL, which then becomes the input for the entries TSX file.
Oh, okay.
So just to remind it, open the editor and see entries.tsx. So we take input and we pass. So now input is JSON instead of empty string, and we pass it to the name prop to the app component, and the app component use that name prop.
Right. And let's see. Here's the name, and it gets used here. And so then when we come out here, it's using that initial prop, and then okay, all right, I'm with it.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much. What would you like to see from here for this minimal one?
So I think the things that I'm really interested in are the part that I understand the division of like server and client, and I know why people want to do that. What has been challenging is in the React Server Components model is the how to keep things connected properly so that you're not accidentally leaking server-side things into the client side. So a little bit more on how we're building the server components, and then if people have questions about what we're doing with RSCs or things that you want to see us try, please do drop those in the comments so that we can make that work. And let's see. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough question because you're asking like best practice.
Mm.
which is a bit of out of the scope of this experimental project. So let me continue with something else for now.
Okay.
You remember we commented out. Oh, okay, before going to it, we can actually see how if hot module replacement or hot reload works. So you want to see the browser and the VS Code at the same time.
Okay.
And let's say if you, let's go to the file counter.tsx,
Okay.
and anything you modify will be shown in the
All right. So there's our
product.
hot module reload working.
Which is the Vite capability,
Mm-hmm.
which is not something I did. But for the server side, let's open up.tsx or the next tab. Yes, we can also make some modification, which is also hot. I didn't call it hot module replacement. It's hot reload. We don't. It's like instead of we click the reload button, it runs behind the scene.
Yeah. And does that do it with, like, if I've got state in here and I go and make a change?
Yeah.
It's reloading the whole page, so like it'll dump client state.
Oh, I'm not sure why it's so. I was expecting it to work.
Let's see if I'm doing something wrong.
Maybe not, or maybe not for this mode. But yeah, that's kind of the goal.
Cool. Okay, I got you.
Okay, so let's go back to entries.tsx and enable get build config, the line 14. Yeah.
Okay. And so
now we are making production app. I mean, we make it build it for production. So the information I need is let's see. Yeah, we need to build it, and it can be because for now we are SPA, so there's only one path name, but technically it can be multiple pages. So we need to provide the pages. So that's how this get build config works. But for now, what it does is that it creates page / and the index page. The index page has entries, one entries, which takes the input with empty string, which doesn't say anything, but this is required because from render entries function above doesn't tell anything. It only runs if we provide something. So we need the input. So go to the terminal and type npm run build.
Okay. Okay, so we've got our build, and then we've got our build out here.
In dist.
Dist. I'm in dist.
Yes. Public is the for the client. It should look familiar. And other than outside public is the server. So asset component server files.
Great.
And yeah, there are some other libraries. So now we can run it with npm start.
Okay, npm start.
Which listens on port 8080.
80. Custom not found page. Let's see. Did I not save that?
This is actually I was working on recently. Yeah, but yeah, before actually you can comment out line 14 again.
Okay. and rebuild it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so now this is built.
Yes, and open the network tab. And now it should be quite clean. Not that quite.
It's still pretty, a lot less noise. We don't have any of the Vite stuff, right? So we have our local host here, right, which
Yeah.
gives us far fewer of those runtime scripts. So we get this Waku client import.
Yeah, that's still there. So there are
We load.
three scripts. Yeah, there's one script and some module preload. And again, JSON the text there, which is
much simpler, not in dev mode.
because it doesn't have debugging information.
So we end up with here's the server data. Here is our app that's serialized JSON. Here is the reference to the counter component, and
exactly.
I mean, it's like kind of melts my brain because I don't read serialized code very often, but I can still parse what this is. I understand what's happening.
Right. Okay. So this is what it is, and let's go back to let's do something.
Okay.
Something that is not related to RSC, but people often want SSR. So originally, when I started, I wanted to make a framework that doesn't include SSR, but as I understand, if we were to say claim a React framework, we need SSR. So eventually, I implemented this feature, which was tough, but it's there now. So let's comment in all other stuff, including line 14.
Okay.
And now we can run it again. Maybe we can do that dev mode first. npm run dev.
All right. So let me get back to 3000. Okay.
And it looks the same because it's the same. But if you open,
didn't like something.
I think that it's fine. It's an issue, but we don't know how to solve it yet.
Okay.
I think it's working. So you open network tab again, and now for the first request,
network tab, we get our first request, and let me make this big again.
Should include the HTML in the body.
Yeah, so there's everything. Here's our placeholder for the server text.
This is called streaming. I don't know what it's called. React streaming, React SSR streaming.
Okay.
The reason I was hesitant about this is because we are basically sending basically sending twice. If you look up a bit, and we have, let's see. This is the server component need H3. You have this one here in the HTML, but we need to hydrate, so we need to send JSX again down below.
Right.
Yeah, I remember. I can use the pointer.
So somewhere down here is going to be our
H3. Yeah, here. So we are sending this string twice in this HTML file. One in the HTML tag, another here is in RSC payload.
And this is a problem with every SSR approach, is that you can't, well, with every SSR approach, with the exception of Quick, I believe. Quick and maybe Wiz at Google, where in order to SSR, you have to render once, send all of the data, and then also send the client-side JavaScript and all of its data so that you can have a in case the JavaScript doesn't work, here's the content, and then when the JavaScript loads, rehydrate and rebuild
Exactly.
this whole page as a JavaScript page.
The good news is that because previously without server components, we need to send all JavaScript. But with RSC, we don't need to send JavaScript. It's just a piece of data. We call
The
RSC
serialized bit
payload.
here.
Yeah. So it's far better than before.
True. Okay, so this is good. We're making progress here. And then is this streaming in? Like if I don't know if I can click in fast enough to see it, but so this isn't here at the beginning.
This is streaming.
Got it. Very cool. So okay. Somebody is asking, how do you build a component out of this? Taking the this part here and then reversing that into a component itself.
On the client, I mean.
And I think you said earlier this is the Waku spec.
Well, if you have a stream or string of this payload, it's then the React spec. It means it deserialize. React has a capability to deserialize this string payload into the actual React component or JSX element. So
yes,
how the two answers. One is that it's a React capability, so it's done by React, but Waku calls this function. So we have a code that takes this response and calls React function and then render on the screen.
Got it. And that's sort of if you've seen to the person asking this question, if you've seen how when you take JSX, if you use React without JSX, and I'm not going to try to Google that right now because I have no idea where to find it. But if you look at how to build a React page without enabling JSX, it's a series of nested functions. And so it's sort of the same idea where like JSX is an abstraction on top of the JavaScript that makes a JSX call, that renders things on the page. And so any serialization is just kind of agreeing on a spec that says, all right, in order to send this in React's case over the wire, we're going to take it into this plain text format that follows these rules, and then our parser can like read the plain text format and turn that into functioning client-side components. Like solids H or fragment. That's what under the hood. That's what JSX is doing. Is the same thing. It's sort of a parser, more or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we are kind of done for this experimental mode. Okay. One last thing is that, so because the reason I made this is that, so I wanted this is a bit of history. I wanted this minimal layer to use React Server components. I didn't want to add anything more. So the motivation behind it is that we want to build things on top of this. So it doesn't provide any big features. It's just minimal layer, and we can add more capabilities on top of it. And at that point, it doesn't have to be a framework. It can be a library. So now we have this minimal layer. We can create many libraries to add features. One of which is router. So until now, we didn't see any router,
right?
And that's why, and I think it's a unique aspect of Waku, which is router agnostic architecture. So let's now see how this thing work. I
Okay.
can, yeah. Let's try our best. I can send a link, but can you open the browser and go to Waku GitHub repository?
Oh, yeah.
You can do that from there.
Let me drop a link in here for anybody who wants to see it.
And we have docs folder. And there's create pages.mdx. The create pages is the low level routing implementation. So now this is a library. This is not tied to the framework. It sits on top of it.
Okay.
So now can you copy this entries.tsx and paste it what we have now?
Full replace.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a full replacement, and then it looks like I've got some templates I need to copy.
Yeah, let's remove it. Okay, go back to the doc, and now it's there's also client entry, which I added recently, maybe down below. So we need to replace main.tsx too. I think it's at the bottom.
Ah, okay. So here's our main.tsx. All right.
So the
And
difference is that now we have a router. It's a Waku router client.
okay.
And then on the server, it's Waku server, router server, or just, yeah, we
So
can, yeah.
Sorry, the one piece we were missing is in entries. We don't have these two files here, and I was
Right.
looking for where those come from.
You can comment them out.
Okay.
And you can directly say, yeah, and at line 12, make an a row function with empty parameter and returns JSX. Start with HTML.
Okay. And do something simple
Empty
like
head. Yeah. Can you put body too?
Oh yeah, I got
just to make sure. Okay, this is I have never tried this, so bear with us.
Okay. Do I need to put a head tag in and leave it empty?
Yeah, let's add empty head tag.
Okay.
And down below, we can do the same. This at line 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops. That was not the button I meant to hit. That button. And then like this.
Yeah, we don't need HTML and just say H1 hello.
Okay.
I hope it works, but I've never tried it in this way.
Okay, so this is saying it reloaded. We didn't get any crashes. So let's go out here and let's see what happened.
Oops. I there.
Okay, well, in good news,
Can
it is
we go-
rendering our route.
we forgot the children. So at line number 12, we need to get children.
Okay, so here's our children.
Pro. Yeah,
And
put
then
that
we'll set children here. And there it is, just like we would expect.
Yeah, root and hello. Yes. So it works.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm following. This is great. So we have we've got our paths. We've got the component that we're actually rendering, and I'm assuming this is like a render mode.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So what it does is that, yeah, it takes these as an input and returns the what we call render entries function. So it translates this input as to the minimal API that we had learned just before.
Okay. Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
if I wanted to add a second page, like let's say I want to add a second page here, and we're going to call this one, we'll say about, and this one is about, then it looks like, if I'm understanding correctly, do I need to update this as well?
no, this is a layout. It's a
Okay.
root layout, so it should work. Yeah,
And there it goes.
you can go back, I guess. Yes, you did.
So we get, or let me refresh that. And now we get what we would expect. That's very cool.
Cool.
Okay, so this is a super simple router. Like I can see a lot of times all I want is something that just does the bare minimum so I don't have to configure a bunch of stuff. And I love that this is that option.
Yeah. And again, the important part is this is built on top of the previous API.
Got
Okay.
it.
Do we have time? Yeah. Maybe it's time to move on to the okay. Actually, I think this I would say this create page, this router, create pages router. This is production level. I mean, this is something for real. But we have many feedback about people saying they want file-based router.
Okay.
So we created the file-based router on top of this API.
Okay.
We can go from here. Let's see. Maybe we can try. We have time.
I want to make sure, one thing that I have questions about is like the idea of actions in React Server components. I want to make sure we have time to approach that and like try those out. Is that something that Waku has, right?
Yes.
Do we have time to do both?
Let's see. Yes, we do, but there are two separate topics. I mean, it's no, actually, it can be done in one app, but I do not have a good demo to show things at the same time. So we should do twice.
Okay.
But I think we have time. So
Great.
let me continue a bit. Now there is no doc, so I need to let's do something. Let's do some hack. Go to GitHub and go to the GitHub repository and go into the source.
Okay.
Or actually, it is in packages. Waku source and lib plugins. There's V plugin RSC managed.
Okay.
Yes, this is something we will see in a minute. But for now, what I wanted to was to copy from line 15 to 22.
Okay.
Yeah, and then paste it in our entries.tsx.
Like here?
Everything. No,
Oh no, that's incorrect.
Replace everything.
Oh, replace everything. Got it. Okay.
Okay, extensions are all TSX, so just remove. I don't remember.
Did something weird.
No, I think it's fine. It's fine. I mean,
Okay.
let's replace extensions. So because this is a template, so inside the, okay, I get it. I got it. In globe, okay, let's replace, let's remove. So there's a curly bracket around the extension. Maybe I can control.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do I do?
If you click in, it'll let you take over.
No, this is not the one. Yeah. Can I type it? No, I cannot type it. I need to enable keyboard.
Oh.
Okay, I can.
Ah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is why it's complaining. Okay, it's still.
What are you mad about? Doesn't like.
I think it's fine now.
It looks like valid code. And it's.
I think it's fine. Yeah, it's not.
Oh yeah, it's just complaining about
TypeScript.
something in TypeScript that I don't think is actually real.
So now, if it works correctly, this is FS router, which built on top of create pages API that we seen just before, and we now need to create files under source, make a pages folder.
Okay, and so we could do like an index.tsx.
Yes.
Okay.
And we can also have underscore layout.tsx.
Okay. And
Yeah,
so
we should have deleted it, but we can do it again. Export default function.
Oh right, because it's a export default function, and then that is going
HTML, blah blah blah.
Yeah, we'll get rid of this.
Yeah. Okay, we need to take children.
And yeah, so we'll put children in here. And put children in here. Okay, so that's our layout. And this will just kind of throw the whole thing in there. And then in our index, same thing, export default function.
Exactly.
Okay, and this one is going to return, we'll just do an H2 that says home. And
let's see if it works.
Okay, this I don't care about. We'll just get rid of that entirely. And you are just a TypeScript error that I'm not worried about right now. So let's make sure that's working as expected. We head back out here, we reload the page, and we've got home. So then if I change this, we've still got our hot reloading, and it's loading exactly as we would expect. Let's add another one. And I'll copy this. And that's beautiful. So yeah, this is great.
Yeah, one thing we can try is there's a link component.
Okay.
Which you can use. Yeah, let's try that quickly.
All right. And do I want to put this in my layout or in my
either is fine, pages? But yeah, layout would be good.
Yeah, let's do. Okay, so we'll put together. Let's see.
Yeah,
put like a header in here, and then we can do a nav. And our nav is going to have. Is it a link component like this? Yep, it auto imports for me. Great.
Oh, great.
And we'll say to home. And we'll copy that, change it to about. Oh, I screwed something up. Let's see what's.
It's not working.
Did I do something wrong? Do I need to
Not sure. Let me double check. It looks good, actually.
Okay, let me just stop and restart it because we've been doing a bunch in here. So I'm going to reload it. Oh, there we go. I think I just needed to
Okay.
reload the page.
I don't know how. Yeah, maybe layout is not. Okay. Layout is static, so maybe we cannot.
So when I added the
not
link,
reload.
it added the markup, but it didn't reload to get the script.
Actually, I'm
would be
not
my
sure
guess.
what's happening. I'll look into it later.
Got it. Okay, cool. So, but here we go. We're running. Now we've got, you know, the kind of standard experience I would expect from a
Right.
link here.
This is what people expect.
Yeah. This is great.
But
So
yeah,
exactly what I would hope for.
and this is built step by step. It's built on top of the previous API and the previous API, which is something I wanted.
Yeah.
So people can do something similar with their own solution.
And this is really, you know, what I like about this too is that hey, I think file-based routing to me, it's such a convenience thing, and I really do love it. But it is very magical. And what I like about this is that you're explicitly saying, like, just glob this folder and turn those things into pages. And I think that's a really nice, I think that's just a nice way to do it.
Yeah, this was pretty tricky. Yeah, but it works now. All right, we have only 30 minutes left. I think we go we move forward. Let's play with actions. So can you let's create a new project
New project. Okay.
because we don't have time to code everything. So I have a small example app.
Is it in the create Waku?
Yes, let's choose from the template again. Minus choose.
Oh, I did it wrong. Choose, not chose. Okay, and so this is going to be Waku server actions. And we're
There is
looking
23, I guess.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to cd Waku server actions. I'm going to npm install. I'm also going to get init. And then I'm going to open this. Okay, so we'll drop this one down. And in here now.
Yeah, this doesn't use router. It's just to experiment how our actions work.
Okay.
So you go to, let's say, up component.
Okay. And inside
And there are a
here,
bunch of actions. There's a bunch of ways to call actions. One is to import directly from funcs that at line number 4. If you go there, there are some functions, just experimental functions with a use server directive at the top. So it has the easy one is greet.
Yeah, so we
Returns something. Yes.
Yeah, nice and easy. We just kind of make sure it does what we want. Then
it's in up component. We call we pass it greet function to counter component, which is
Got
a
it.
client component.
Okay, so this one gets the greet, and then we start the transition and set it.
The count from the state. So let's run the app and see how it works.
Okay. So we're back
Unfortunately,
on.
this is
Oh,
not
this one's not
pretty.
gonna work.
This is not a pretty demo, but yeah.
What have I done wrong?
I remember this. I think I already fixed it, but it's not published yet. So let's remove something from up.tsx.
Okay.
Yes, I think I will release it next week. Remove balancer line 21.
There we go. Okay. Click to greet.
So if it reads count from the state and it calls server, and the response is shown in the bottom label.
So I can update it to 8, click the button, now it says C equals 8.
Maybe we should open up the network tab and see how it's working.
Okay, so here is the network tab. Let me make this a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna increment, which doesn't do anything. And then when I click the button,
yes,
we get new text.
The payload, in the payload, it's a request. Yeah, it's in URL params. It's C equal to 14, and they receive it. The server actually received this as an input argument, and they make a response.
And we can see that in here, because that's the name that's being passed in.
Yeah,
in
it was a string.
app.tsx.
It was just a string. Yes.
Or sorry, in counter. We have the greet here, and then when we call it, we're greeting with the current count, so the C equals and the count. Okay, and that's so this is handled client side, which then gets sent to the server side function, which then gets returned to our app, which is
Let's add more weight in greet function.
okay.
Instead of await promise resolve, create await new promise and resolve arrow set timeout. Resolve.
Or I guess.
2 seconds. No, that both works.
Oh yeah, I guess I can just throw it in. Like that is a muscle memory thing. I just realized. Okay, so this one then should take 2 seconds, and now
yes,
if I increment, we click 1,000, 2, 1,000, boom.
Now we see pending level on there. You could it says pending. That's how transition works. If you go back to the client.tsx, there's start transition.
Button client.
No,
sorry,
counter.tsx.
Counter. Sorry.
And if you comment out start transition, line 18 and 20.
Okay.
Now it's not in the transition and it doesn't show pending. And it's, right. It just run behind the scene.
Got it. So it still runs, it still takes time, it still updates the button, but we don't get that indication that something is happening.
Yes. Which is sometimes useful, but not for this time.
Yeah, and in this case, like the use transition, so this isn't one that I've used before. So this is pretty slick. This is a React API, yeah. And they just give you a state, like if something is transitioning, you know, because is pending will be set, and a function to wrap actions around so that you know when they're done. And so this one specifically, when we use set text in use state here, it's just waiting for whatever we run to complete before it would set the transition back to false. Very cool. Okay, this is great.
Yeah. What I had, there was a challenge for me, and which is down now. which is we can actually import client function server functions from in the client component file. So if you open textbox tsx, we actually import greet from func2, which has user server directory. So previously we need to pass the function from server component. From in up.tsx we pass greet function,
Right. So
which is passing a server function from server component to client component.
Yeah, so we have our server functions, they're marked as use server. And then in app.tsx, which is a server component, we import greet. We pass that to counter, right? We've got greet here. Counter is a client component, but we have access to greet because it's one of the props. But then what you're saying is in text box, which is a client component, we are importing greet
Directly.
straight up.
Yep.
And then using it, and here's the use effect that marks it, or that shows us that it's a client component. And now, is this a feature of Waku?
It's a requirement from React docs as a capability of server function, but yeah, the framework has to implement it.
Got it. And so
it's a Waku implementation, but the spec is from React.
And so this is actually something that I think it is a challenge, is in here, right? We've got greet. Now, how, if I'm using, my environment variables, got my import.meta.env, and it's like some secret. How do we make sure that this doesn't leak into this that's importing it? Like, is there something where that gets stripped as part of doing it, or is that something that we need to remember as we're building these apps, is to not, because I guess like my use case would be if I wanted this action to allow somebody to sign up to my newsletter, I'm going to need an API key for my newsletter provider to actually submit that new email. But if I call it from a client component, how do I make sure I don't accidentally leak that API key?
I would say this is still an open question in the community, in the React community. But the way it works is that if it has a use server directive, it doesn't leak. But the hard question is, how do we make sure? React has a new API called, what was it called, Taint, to detect it somehow. But I haven't played with it yet.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a tough question. But the way it works, if you know the way it works, if you have a use server directive, it doesn't go to the client.
Okay, and the way that we can verify this is we can add this, and we'll see that it's loading on the server. But if we come back out here, we go to the console, we don't see that when we greet. We've got something else logging, but even when we greet, we don't see it show up in the client.
One other challenge was to use closure variable. So go back to up.tsx. No, it's actually button server.
Okay.
There's a button server and button client. And in button server, we have a use server inside the function. So this is also the spec from React. But what's the tricky part is that there are some variable outside this function. There are two variables. One is counter at the module level at line 3. The other is now, which is inside the button server, which is a server component. So every time we re-render, it has new date, right? So if we yeah, we can do some experiments. We can open up two tabs and go to the same page, and it should have different now.
Okay, let me, let's see, split, and we'll go to localhost
3000.
3000. I want a split though. Tab, split. There we go. Okay. So now I have button.
Yeah, 1 and 2 is the same. Yeah, and you have to see the console log on the server.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, so let's make this one here, and we'll open up server. So here is our button 1, button 2. Oh, I can do this. Here we go. Okay. So this one has a set timestamp. Button 2 has a different count. Button 1, different timestamp in the different tab. Okay, so I see what you're saying. That works.
So yeah. So that's another capability of using server action.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
and that's like the closure stuff always melts my brain because it, I remember back in the day when you had to do things like your bind, you had to do like this dot bind or like whatever it was, this dot bind or I can't even remember the syntax anymore, but you always had to kind of grab data and make sure that it was connected to the right context. And now we just get to throw it in here and it just works. And that is very pleasant for me as a developer. I imagine that was very challenging for the people building it. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, I mean, this is great. And it also, does this, so this is in the React spec. Is this working in all RSC implementations? Yeah. Dot bind this. That's the one.
Yeah. I do not know. I haven't researched about it.
Yeah. I haven't either. I know that I've seen a lot of people talking about this.
Of course.
Next has it working?
Yeah. I'm sure. All right.
All right. So we've got about 15 minutes left. Is there anything else you want to show?
Let's move on. I want to show the actual usage.
Yeah.
So now create a new project now without choose option.
Okay. So
which is something people would first see.
All right. So we're going to do this Waku actual usage. Okay, and then we will open this up, close down this one, and here is an actual usage. So we've got some pages, we've got components.
And we have styles.
Okay, so yeah, see, we've got some tailwind in here. We've got, otherwise pretty light though. Okay.
Yep. Let's run it.
All right, let me open up my terminal here, and we will npm run dev. Okay. So here is the actual project.
And which is pretty much what you have done just before. Mm-hmm. Just home and about. But it has, yeah.
It's looking pretty familiar though, from the standpoint of like what I would expect from a framework, right? We have
async get data. So it's just JSON here, but we can actually call database if you want.
Got it. And this runs server side, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this is very similar to like get initial props or the loader function in Remix or the front matter in Astro. Correct. Where if I've got data, if I want to make sure that I have the data available, we just do that and then we grab it right there. What is nice about this is that it's not abstracted away, which is kind of interesting. Like, again, the cool thing about frameworks is they just do stuff for us. The downside to frameworks is they hide how they do that stuff. And so it is kind of interesting to see that you opted for, write a function called get data and then just call get data. And we don't even have the abstraction of like export a loader and then call use loader data, which is that's a pretty light abstraction. But it feels, I don't know, it feels nice. I feel like I know exactly what I'm getting.
Cool. Yeah, one last thing I want to add is that there's a render mode, and if you go down, there's get config and render static.
Mm-hmm.
When we say render static, it's statically generated. We can actually run without server. I mean, we can just upload the file and then in any hosting service, and it runs. So this is actually my primary use case. It's often called SSG.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you have if all components are static, we can make static sites.
Yeah, and if you're working with data that doesn't change very often, it's really fast to build a static site. And so using whatever hosting provider you prefer, uploading a static site is going to cost you very little. The maintenance overhead is very low. The fragility is very low. So yeah, I'm very much with you. Like go static whenever you can. It's going to save you some heartburn.
we can actually try quickly. If you open the terminal and say npm run build.
Oops, npm run build.
And it builds everything. And in public, it's a public folder is client side files, and we can only serve this. Yeah, if you open up the RSC folder in public.
RSC folder, got it.
Yeah, this is exactly the one we've seen in the.
Oh yeah, okay.
Network tab. So instead of running our work server, we can serve this public folder. And let's go to the terminal and type npx serve dist/public. I think this is cool.
Okay, and so now we should be at localhost 3000.
Yeah, now this is not running work server. It's just static file.
Yeah, and if we maximize this, reload the page, we can see that we've got.
Yeah, maybe go to about page and you will see about.txt.
And there's that about.txt.
Which is static file.
Mm-hmm. And so this would be really nice. Just a very easy thing to deploy. And like we can even do things like if we go to app.netlify, this will be fun. We can go into this GitHub folder and get Waku is going to be down at the bottom here. Actual usage, dist, and public. And then I can come down to the bottom where my deploy a new site thing is. And I can literally drop this up. And this will be a live site. Right? So now we've got a production deploy that I can drop in here. And y'all can go and actually play with a Waku site in production. Right? So like this is one of the reasons I love static deployment so much, by the way.
Yeah. I totally agree. By the way, we support Vercel and Netlify, both for the serverless function and static site. And not sure where it's described, but if you it's down there. We have.
Let's see, I'll just
look for Netlify.
There we go. So here's the Netlify setup, and then here's the Vercel setup.
Exactly.
And we can just link to deployment.
It also supports SSG. It's exactly what you did, like uploading this
Mm-hmm.
to public.
Yeah,
But yeah, it does it. Yeah,
really, really nice.
I think I covered everything I wanted.
Yeah, I mean, like this is cool, and the nice thing about it too is I feel like for a lot of us, myself included, the introduction of React Server components, it made me feel like too many things had changed in the React ecosystem, and I was worried about what that meant for building with React going forward. And to see that the way that Waku is set up is it's sort of stripping back and saying like, look, if you can deploy this minimal thing and just see how a React Server component works, and then you can see this instance of a functional site. And when we look at the code for this, this is not a intimidating app to use. It looks very similar to things that I've built before, and knowing that I'm getting the advantages of, I imagine the React team wouldn't launch React Server components unless they thought it was going to make a difference, right? So knowing that I'm getting the advantages of that without having to relearn the way that I write React, I think is really nice. I have a question from the chat. Would it be possible to embed Waku into other frameworks like Astro or straight up Express?
I'm not sure about Astro, but basically it's a standalone framework, so embedding might be hard. However, it exposes some low level API, and you can embed it in other server framework. Actually, it uses Hono underneath, and technically it's possible to put Waku build things in Hono app,
Got it.
but I haven't tried.
Sure. And I mean, I guess it sort of depends on what your use case is as to whether or not it would make sense to try to put a framework inside of a framework that, in my experience at least, often leads to pain. But so Daishi, this was amazing. Thank you so much for taking some time. Are there
thank
any
you
other
too.
places that I should send people for additional documentation? So we've got the Waku homepage, we've got the Waku repo, and I'm going to send another link to your Twitter. Is there anywhere else that people should go? Any other resources?
I don't think so. This is everything.
Okay, perfect. Well, with that being said, then I think I'm gonna call it there because I don't think we have time to cut. Unless there's something quick you wanted to cover that we didn't get to.
No, I think I covered everything.
I think this is great. So thank you very much, and to everybody watching, thank you for hanging out. Make sure that you go and check the schedule. You can like this stream, share it with your friends, get on the Learn with Jason newsletter to make sure that you get updates about more things like this. The easiest way to get notified when we go live is actually the Discord. I know I saw Fuzzy talking in there about the Twitch updates not happening that fast, so go check in the Discord. The Discord's a good place to get notified when we go live. We got good stuff coming up, a lot more than what is actually listed here. We're actually booked like until the end of October. I just got to actually get things up on the site. So coming soon on that. And one more thank you to our sponsors. We've had Rachel here from White Coat Captioning. That is sponsored by Netlify. Thank you for that. And you may have noticed that Daishi and I were using Tuple to share cursors, and he took over the screen for a little bit. It's a nice little tool for pair programming. Make sure you go and give Daishi a follow. And I think that's everything. So Daishi, thank you one more time.
Yeah,
Y'all,
thank you. And
thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.
bye.